It's Tyrone from tyroneshum.com and welcome to the next webinar series in part 2. This is the next one that I'm going to be sharing with you just on how to set up a profitable niche website and have it all outsourced. So thank you very much for taking your time out tonight to come onto the call and also for me to share this information with you. Now, before I do get into it, what I like to do is just to get some feedback from everyone. The first thing I like to know is just to make sure that everybody can see my screen and also can hear me clearly. So on the right hand side of your screen, you'll probably see a little question box. Fantastic, I'm getting some responses, good. And I just want to make sure everybody can hear me loud and clear. Fantastic. Okay, the other thing as well too is I'm going to give you all, before I do get started, a little wrap up of what's happened last week as well, or a little overview, so that way we can get ourselves up to speed. And for the new people who have just come onto the call, just welcome you from last week as well. The other thing as well is, has everybody had a chance to follow any of the action steps that I provided last week? And I'd like to know basically if everyone is everyone following through with the action steps and if they struggled at all. So feel free to put your questions onto the right hand side or any concerns or how you're going at this point in time. I want to try and make it as interactive as possible for you so that way I can try to answer your questions while we're in this call. And if you have been doing your research and you found the 20 or the top 10 list of categories that you're looking for, the keywords, then that's great because it's really, really encouraging to see that you are taking action on this. So I'm going to take this next step forward and we're going to get rolling straight into it right now. So in today's topic, I'm going to be talking about how to set up a profitable niche website. And basically it's going to be the more technical side of things, the more in-depth, which is basically to find a domain, search for a domain and make sure that domain matches exactly to the keywords that you've researched or the topics that you researched. Then I'll show you step by step on how to set that up using a very simple one-click process. So it should make it very, very easy for you, but this is more of the hardcore technical side of things if you want to put it that way. Okay, before we jump into it, I'm going to give you a quick wrap of what we did last week. So for all the newbies who've just come onto the call last week, this is what we talked about. The first thing was I shared with you last week on how to find a profitable market, and I gave you quite a number of different areas to look into, things such as eHow. I'll just write this down. So that was the first thing that we did. We looked at how to find a profitable niche market, and as I said, we looked at eHow, we looked at Amazon. We also looked at the different ways that you could come up with the 3 Ps. And from those 3 Ps, you could determine whether or not those are markets that you want to jump into. I also shared with you exactly how to do this and test it and make sure that whatever you're doing is going to be a profitable keyword. And we put this through Market Samurai. And as I said to you last week, if you haven't got a copy of Market Samurai, you can easily get a trial version of it at Test Market Samurai, which is... I'll just do that again. Yeah, you can get a copy of it at testmarketsamurai.com. And basically, I'm going to be referring to this tool quite a bit over the next few upcoming weeks. All right, so what I showed you within Market Samurai was how to determine the 4 different areas. The first one was basically to look at the relevance. Whoops, I can't spell today. It should be a V. Relevance. Second one was looking at traffic. And third was competition. And finally, looking at commercial value or commerciality. So those were the 4 things that we looked at last week to determine whether or not those keywords that you're choosing or the markets that you're planning to jump into is going to be relevant to what you're doing. All right. So that was just a little quick recap. I like to do that for every webinar, especially for the newbies who have come onto a call who have just decided to follow up on what we're doing right now. So I'm going to just clear this right now and we'll just get straight into what we're going to be talking about today. Now, if you do have any questions, feel free to put them onto the right-hand side along the GoToWebinar section there, and I'll do my best to try and answer them for you. All right, so in today's topic, what we're going to be going through, and I'll show you exactly what to do, is first thing, is that we're going to be looking at determining what keyword to choose as a domain. I think I might best put it in capital letters because it doesn't seem to come out as clear as I thought it would. So yeah, I'm hoping that you can see this clearly. So determine keywords for your domain. And when I say the domain, I'm talking about basically the www.keywordname.com. Okay, so I'll say for your domain.com, so that way you kind of know exactly what I'm referring to. And we'll be using Market Samurai to do that. And then the next thing is I'm going to show you where you can buy the domain. And also have the hosting all in one. So therefore, it's basically going to be very, very easy to buy and set up your hosting at the same time. And it won't cost you an arm and a leg. I mean, like some hosting providers charge anywhere in the vicinity of between $50 to $100 a month. This here only probably costs you about $7 or $8 a month, which is very, very little just to even get you started up. If you, for example, started a business, which was a retail business, you'd probably be paying a lot more in rent in order to be able to start that up. So this is a very, very small investment, and it's something that you definitely need to do if you are pursuing this interest or this way of actually looking for a niche market and building some income from it. So I'll show you where to go that and to get it quite cheaply. And then also too, I'll go through and show you the one-click process that I'll be using to set up the website. And I'm pretty sure most of you have probably heard of WordPress, which is the system that we're going to be using. So I'll show you how to set that all up inside your domain. And then also give you some tips on what to do to optimize it the best for your domain. So it's pretty much the three-part process for today, and I'll be running through all these quite in detail so that way you can see exactly what to do. And as usual, I'm going to be giving you some action steps to take away at the end of this webinar, so that way you can go out and start doing it yourself as well. And as I said, I'll be posting up this webinar replay onto the blog. I've had over 500, I think, people already review it already again. So, you know, there's more and more people coming back to this webinar on a day-to-day basis just to refer to it. And the goal for me is just to be able to provide you with some really, really good content here so that you can take action and get started in whatever endeavor you want to choose or whichever market. Okay, so that's the three-part process. Let's firstly take a look at Market Samurai. I'm going to jump in there and I'm going to use the same keyword that I started off last week. All right. So the keyword that I found after I've done my research and gone through either Amazon, eHow, or applied the 3 Ps that I was discussing about last week, I dug down really, really deep and I managed to find this keyword here, which is called quickest way to lose weight. And and what I had chosen was basically a market. Excuse me. I'd chosen a market where I was deciding to go into health. Health was just a very generalized market, and we first started, as you may have seen already, with Pat and myself, the 3-day detox. Him and I was doing that as a challenge, and what I did was I thought, okay, I could pretty much explore other markets within this whole area or this niche. So I went down deeper and we found the quickest way to lose weight. And it seemed like there was quite a lot of people searching for this particular key term. And what was interesting was that there was not much competition for it. So what I did was last week, if you remember, I showed you in the SEO competition and just gave you some indication of what to look out for when you're actually determining whether or not the keyword is sufficient. So as you can see here, what I did last week was share with you, if you just added all this up, the PR for example, you can see there's quite a lot of greens here. With that many greens, you can add this all up, and if the PR average out of the 10 is less than say 2.5 to 3, then you've got a potentially good niche. Now you might be wondering, what are all these extra reds that are here and oranges? Well, these are what they call backlinks to their page. And basically, if people are looking to search for these term for the quickest way to lose weight, they have 9,000 odd backlinks. That's a lot, which is fair enough. But what I found in my experience is that I'm not going to make that as a key determining factor. That is one factor, but there are other factors that you need to take in consideration. And that's just only one out of, say, 6 different criteria I look at. And the first one, as I said, is the PR. Second one is the backlink pages. This is the backlinks to any education or government backlinks. And as you can see, none of them have any of that. So that means it's pretty much clearly open. I can just go to a government website and get a backlink from there. Now, just to recap, for people who don't understand what backlinks are, I thought I'd just share that with you so that way you can sort of understand the importance of it. I'm going to draw it for you. Let's say, for example, I have the domain right here, or the website. This is my website. And I have, say for example, multiple different websites that you don't own. These are websites on the internet that link back to you. Each individual link that goes back to your website is counted as a backlink. Excuse my drawing, I'm not the best as a drawer, as you can probably realize. So yeah, each individual one of these is counted as a backlink. So imagine when I showed you that site over there that we just had, they had 9,000 odd backlinks going back to that one site. And that's a really, really good thing for them, because it means that when Google sees how many backlinks they have to their website, it means it's just a vote to say that this site is quite popular. And if you look at each individual backlink, you can kind of consider them as being a vote to that website. And that's saying that they've got 9,895 votes back to that website, which is quite good. But the problem is that they haven't optimized for the term quickest way to lose weight. And according to the keyword research that we've done, based on the results the previous week, they have shown that this one has greater than 80, as I was saying, 80 search return results every day. So that was one of the key reasons why I chose that niche. So that's basically backlinks. And DMZ, which is a DMOZ directory. And this one here is the open directory on the internet, and it's free to get on it, but it'll take you years to actually get a listing from them. So don't bother with that. It's just another way to determine how strong this particular website is, because once you get listed on there, it means it gives you a strong voting back to your website. Yahoo directories. This is a paid listing. If you pay $299 per year just to get a backlink from that website, it can also add a little bit more value onto your website. So yeah, it really depends whether or not you want to spend that money. At the beginning, we don't usually recommend that. If your site has been trialing through and you have been getting quite a bit of traffic and you're starting to make money from it, you might consider that as an investment and invest into getting that as well. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit more about these in detail in probably the next few webinars, because these, at this point in time, you probably might not mean too much to you, but the most important thing is just making sure that there's not much competition. So if it's more green, as you can see right here, then it's a good thing for you. Obviously, they haven't optimized for the title, URL, description, and header. That's why it's all N's for no's. And these things here, you basically, if you see that they're not optimized for even the first ranking or first page of Google, then it would be quite easy for you to be able to target for that term. And if people are searching for it, then you can really grab that top spot. All right, so that's basically how I determined whether or not this particular niche that I'm going to go into, which is quickest way to lose weight, is a niche that I want to actually get into that is going to provide some traffic and also potentially how much value it's going to have. If you missed out on last week's webinar and you don't understand how all this works, I'd highly recommend just referring back to the previous webinar, because I did go into detail about how that works and also how to determine whether or not it's a worthwhile niche for you to jump into. Okay, let's move on then. So if I've determined that this is the keyword, for example, quickest way to lose weight, I want to jump over into my web browser and check out whether or not it's a viable niche. So a site that I use that is really good for me anyway, that I use to search for whether or not the domain is available, is a site called oneand1.com. Okay. One-on-One offers quite cheap domains. If you're to decide to just buy just the domain, not hosting from them, it's only about, at this point in time, on a special of about $5 per year. Normally it's about $8.99 per year, but at this point in time, I've been buying a few domains from them for only $5 for the whole year, which is an absolute bargain in my opinion, because we haven't been able to buy those kind of domains for that cheap for a while. All right, so what I do is, the first thing I do is jump over to One-on-One. This is just a domain search. I can use any search engine or search domain place. You can use GoDaddy, Namecheap, etc. But I prefer to use One-on-One. And I type in the name that I want to look for, or the keyword I'm looking for. And the goal is to find an exact domain name match. So I'm just going to type it in right now, and I just want to explain to you exactly also too very soon how to go about this. So it's quickest way to lose weight. Whoops. And just simply hit more, and what will happen is bring back a list of results. Now, the reason why I'm recommending to try and find an exact domain match is because if it's an exact domain match, Google, for example, will be able to find that website and go, okay, I'm going to rank this one for the keyword if you've set it up correctly. And usually if somebody types in quickest way to lose weight on Google, most likely this term should come up to the top if you've set it up correctly and also got the optimized correctly. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. And obviously the quickest way to lose weight.com has been purchased, as you can see, already registered. And it's not me. I wish it was, because it would have been really helpful for me. But I noticed that with this particular one, a lot of them seem to just buy these domains just to put advertising, because they know that if anyone types that term, quickest way to lose weight.com, if anyone types that search term, most likely it will just bring them an advertising page, which they know that they've got lots of traffic coming through. And if anyone clicks on any of these links, basically these are sort of like Google advertising links. No, I mean, they're not, but they're like that. And these sponsored listing links, as soon as anyone clicks on these, they'll get a payment of some sort. Like they probably might get 10 cents or maybe $1, depending on how high demand these words are. So people just set these up so that they can just make money from it. They don't have any sole purpose except just for people to click on them. And it doesn't provide any value and doesn't provide any information relating to what they want to do. So, you know, if you can get these kind of exact domain name matches, that'll be great for you. But if not, that's fine. I'm going to show you a little strategy on how to choose domain names that will suit you. And as I was saying, I wanted to recommend you to all look at getting or using the closest domain name match. And the reason behind that is because when Google searches for your term or for your website, for example, if it matches exactly, it'll rank it at #1 placing at the top. Now, if you can't get the first place ranking, for example, there's your keyword right here, and you can't get keyword.com, what you can do is to add maybe, for example, what I've done with a lot of my sites is HQ. And I know a lot of people have also done that as well, particularly in a lot of the people who've been participating in the Niche Duel Challenge. That's an option there. You can add HQ to the end of it. Now, the less letters that you use, for example, on your domain name that you do, the better it is. So if you can bring it down to say keyworde.com at the end, then it would be even better for you. It's basically some kind of algorithm that Google has that determines whether or not your keyword, if it has something that is too long on it, has something that is irrelevant, then it won't actually list it as strongly. So try to make sure that you choose the keyword that you have, that you've chosen in that market, and try to find something that wouldn't be as long. So another example for that we've chosen in the past is ekeyword.com. And that seems to work out well. Also too, just make sure that you do choose something that makes sense as well. I know I've seen some of the students that I had before has keyword and then they put in Z and then .com. Whoops. So you can actually do that as well. That's basically what I wanted to just share with you. It's crucial that you do consider that and just think of things that you can add on to it. Other terms that you can do is probably putting A at the beginning. For you, that's what I've also had on one of my other domains. or any other characters that you think might be good at the end. But I usually just stick with HQ. So a majority of the sites that you'll see that my niche sites usually have HQ on them. For example, 3-day detox HQ, quickest way to lose weight HQ. And if they haven't been taken, that's great. And you guys can take those on board. All right. Now, I've noticed that there's actually a few questions from people coming in, and I thought I might just try and answer any of them. Okay. Do you notice any difference between mykeywordrichdomain.com versus mykeywordrich? Okay, good question there, Tim. I thought I'd better mention this as well. I particularly don't recommend a lot of people to try and put hyphens, because a lot of people do ask me, should we put hyphens in between your domains? And yes, it does. I don't think it affects you too much on Google, but it does affect people when they're trying to remember it. So when I'm just referring to this, the computer doesn't seem to like it because it keeps lagging. There must be something wrong with an application. Okay, there we go. So I probably won't draw it, but if you can see right here, I'll just type it in here. So if I put quickest way to lose weight.com, then it is a domain name that is probably an exact match and somebody hasn't bought it. But the problem is that you got all these extra dashes in between. And when Google optimizes for this, I'm not 100% sure, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure they look at these dashes, and then when they see these dashes, they don't give it much weight. So obviously, the less dashes or the less characters that you have, the better it is. That's basically what I'm recommending at this point in time. So if you can, maybe just put at most maybe an E at the end or something like that, or maybe E at the beginning. It's really up to you. So that's really something that I have been doing myself, and it seems to work really well. All right, so let's come back to one-on-one, as I was sharing with you, and how to find which keyword domains are good. The other thing I thought I better mention as well too is with keywords or searching for domain, make sure you try to find them with .coms. I don't recommend .info, .co, or any of the other ones. The reason being is because there's high weighting with .com, and therefore Google actually values these ones a lot more and ranks them better. If you do have an exact match, for example, quickest way to lose weight.net, you can consider getting that one as well. But if you can, most likely go for the .com. All right. That's really all I can say about that. I mean, some people will argue with me on this and say, look, you should get the .info and you'll have the exact match. But it really, really depends on what you're trying to do on the web. And if you're trying to rank and turn this into a profitable website, most likely .com is the best, because if you're going to promote this and market it, people will remember the .com over the .net any day. So that's a key thing. Now, once you've found your keyword term, what you can do, let's say, for example, I don't know if there's any other ones out there, but I have purchased quickest way to lose weight HQ.com. So you don't need to, if you do find that the exact match to it, then great. At least it'll say available like how it is here. And if it is available, then what you would do is go to this service here called www.gotobluehost.com. And this is where I usually buy the hosting and the domains. Now I'll just write it here for you so that way you can all see it as well. And this is a really good service that I've been using for a very, very long time. I actually use the subsidiary of it, but it's exactly the same thing. So if you want to buy your domain and also hosting together, it's in one package. I'll just write it down for you. It's go to bluehost.com. Now, I'll just let you know this is an affiliate link, and I do receive an affiliate if you do buy through this affiliate link. But this is basically the website and also hosting domain service that I recommend and use, and it's a very, very easy to use and set up system. And for anyone who's starting a niche site, this is perfect for them. All right, so that's go to bluehost.com. And once you go to bluehost.com, all you have to do, I'll just go here, and you'll see it says it's only $6.95 per month, so it's $7. And you also get a free domain as well. So therefore, you don't need to go and spend an extra $5 or $9, $10 it is on top to buy a separate domain. When you sign up for this account here, go to bluehost.com, it will allow you to be able to create and choose a domain. Now it's pretty easy to do. Just follow these simple instructions here. Simply just put in, I need a domain. So you type in the domain, for example, so your keyword and then HQ maybe, or maybe you might get the exact one, .com. Simply click next and just follow the instructions along. It should only be about 3-4 step process and only take you at most 10 minutes to set up. Now, once you've set that all, it will actually send you some details via email and give you access to the account. Once you log in, you'll be provided with exactly your domain name, which is domain.com or keyword.com, etc., etc. And you'll be taken over to the control panel, which I'll log straight in right now to show you, which will save you a bit of time having to figure it out. And this is basically the control panel that you see here. And HostMonster, which is the one that I've been using, which is a subsidiary, they charge pretty much the same prices. The only difference is that I started using HostMonster going back at least 5 or 6 years ago, so I didn't jump over to Bluehost. But it is owned by the same company, and it's just a sort of what they call a black label. And it works exactly the same. So whatever I'm showing you right here is exactly what you'll see in the back there. Now, the first thing you want to do, I'll just close this up, is once you've logged into your backend, you'll find that they'll give you your domain name. Say, for example, your domain name is over here, which is like keyword.com. In my instance, it's quickestwaytoloseweight.hq. What you want to do is to scroll down to the bottom and just find out where the area where it says software and services. So I'll see if my little pen works right now. There we go. Just right here. And you'll see it says software and services. Now, once you find that, you'll see that there's simple scripts and also WordPress here. I'm going to show you right now how to set up the site. This is the one-step click process that I'm talking about. So once you've purchased a domain, all you have to do is log into the control panel, which they'll provide information for, and simply go down to where it says software and services and click here to set up a WordPress site. And the WordPress site is just going to be your website. Once you go through this process, it'll automatically allow you to set it up very, very quickly. And this is the one-step click process I'm talking about. It takes you only like 5 minutes or less. So right now it's logging myself in and we're just waiting right now. There we go. Now I don't know why everything that I have here is all being highlighted. It shouldn't be. I might have to open up a whole new window to prevent that from happening. So just bear with me a moment. I'll just do that so that way it's clearer to see for everyone. Okay. So pretty much what you want to do is just make sure that when you are setting up a domain, you set it up exactly as close as keyword match as possible. And I've emphasized this quite a number of times, but it is very, very important that you do that. Okay, beautiful. So you can see right here, this is what they call the Simple Scripts WordPress install. And you'll notice it says install WordPress. You'll get pretty much the same thing. And to install it, all you have to do is click on here, which is the button right down here. It says here install a brand new version. Okay, just click on that button that says install and then just follow the step-by-step process. So I'll click on install right now. As you can see, I've already set up quickestwaytoloseweighthq.com here. So that means you already can see that's been done. But all you have to do is select the domain that you've purchased. Say, for example, I purchased quickestwaytoloseweighthq.com here, and then it will ask me to set it up. Then what you want to do is just make sure it's 3.1, which is the latest version of WordPress. And then I would usually just click on here where it says click here to display and change the options here, the advanced options. Now take note, I'm going to just make sure that this will save you a lot of time because you don't have to go about and edit it inside WordPress. So what you do is you put your site name. So you put your keyword here. This is the most important part. Quickest way to lose weight is my keyword. Put that there as your site name. Make sure you do that. Then what you want to do is put in a username. I would recommend changing this and don't use admin. Change it to something else, maybe your own name, for example. So I'm going to put Tyrone and then put in a password. So I'll just go Dr. Me, whatever it is. This is my thing. But basically just choose a password and a username and make sure that's not admin because it prevents you from having spam and attackers on that. Then once that's done, just leave that ticked as automatically create a new database, and then tick here and make sure you have read the terms and conditions. And then all you have to do is press complete. The complete button will go ahead and create your whole WordPress site, and it'll do it within one click. Now I won't do that because I already have created mine, but what I want to show you now is once it's created, how it looks and also what you need to do. Okay, so let me just close this up for you, and I'll just run through basically what we need to do next. I hope everybody's got that down. If you do have questions, which I can see people asking questions right now, I'll definitely answer them at the end of this call or towards the end, and I'll allow for at least a few minutes for you to be able to ask me any specific questions. All right, before I do jump in and show you all about the WordPress setup, because it should only take you about 5 minutes or so for the one quick process, I'll give you a quick overview of what we've just done. So what we've done is purchased the domain and hosting. And basically for something like that, as I said, it's not going to be any more than $6 per month. So that's like $70 odd a year. Now, if in the first, say, 6 months or so, you start making $100 per month just from advertising alone, you've already covered your cost for a whole year. And that can become your passive income website if you continue to either build on it or just leave it the way it is. Then I've created or selected the domain that I want to buy. Okay, and then after that, I did a one-click install for WordPress. And that's it. So the 3-part process, that's it. Simple as that. And this is pretty much the webinar that I'm covering today. I'm going to show you some little bit of extra stuff here, which I'm going to log into my current niche site, which is quickest way to lose weight, and show you some little strategies or tips to change, because that way it will help you optimize the website much faster and therefore get you listed on the internet much quicker. Because next webinar, I'm going to share with you the step-by-step process on what tools and plugins to be able to optimize your site the best. All right, so let's log in to quickest way to lose weight. And usually to log into it, it'd be wp-admin. Now, I think when we set this up as a default, we set it up with, I think it's this one. I can't remember, but we're using a pseudonym. And as we've discussed previously, you can use a pseudonym or you can use your own name. All right, here we go. So because I'm not writing these articles, I'm getting my virtual assistant to write them. Then basically we wanted to use a pseudonym. So that way it keeps my business, which is my business at Tyron Shum, separate to these little mini niche websites. And you have a choice to do that. If you decide that's what you want to do, then great, go for it that way. Alternatively, if you are passionate about that and you are very well knowledge in your niche, then definitely use your own name and present yourself in your own details. All right, so now what will happen is that it will set up quickest way to lose weight. The WordPress, and my niche, as I said, is quickest way to lose weight. And the first thing you want to do is to jump over here in the settings section. Okay, and do a few little simple changes. So you'll notice over here, let's see, settings, there we go. Over here on the settings, just waiting for this to load up. It's lagging again. Okay, settings, and you click on general. And inside there, it will load up details here. So the first thing is you'll notice on here, when you've loaded up your site title, and I said to you, when you go into Bluehost and create a one-step click, you put in your keyword term. It's done that for me automatically. Now, in the tagline, it will usually have something different. I'll just delete it for you. Or say, just another WordPress blog. That's what usually comes up. What I want you to do is to delete that. So delete it, and I'm just going to paste back exactly what I had there. But what you want to do is to write a strong tagline that is related to your niche. And make sure that you do have some of the keywords that you've decided to actually target. So for example, in the tagline, I've got learn the best diet tips, health plans, and resources for methods to lose weight. So, whoops, lose weight. So make sure that those kind of keywords that you've got there, which is lose weight, are in there. You might want to put in, like what I should have done here was resources for quickest way to lose weight. The reason why I recommend doing that is because when Google goes through and searches for your website, they do look at your taglines, and the more keywords that you do have relating to the targeted keywords that you're going for, the quicker you'll be able to get ranked, and also the faster it is you'll be able to get up onto the first page of Google. So that's important there, and you need to just make sure that you do that. Now, I don't recommend keyword stuffing, and a lot of people might put 10 times of the keywords in there. They might put quickest way to lose weight, way to lose weight, or quick lose weight. Don't do that. Just put in at most 2 of your keywords in there, because this will be there, that's your one, and you'll put 2 of them in here and it'll be sufficient. Because ultimately you are writing for an audience and you're not writing just for the Google search engine. The next thing you want to do is just to make sure that you do change the email address. Sometimes there's no email address, but just put in the email address that people get in contact with you. And I usually just use contact and then at quickest way to lose weight HQ. And then the rest is okay. Once that's done, just click Save Changes. All right, so those are just the simple, fine tips that will lead you or take you a long, long way, because it will help you set up your website much faster and get it ranked and optimized. That's the first part. Now, the next part is that most of you are probably thinking, oh, I've got a plain WordPress site and it doesn't have a nice theme. So what I would recommend you do is to theme your website nicely. I'll show you actually what it looks like right now. Actually, before I do, I might switch it back over to the original theme so that way you can see what the difference is. All right, so if you click on Appearances on the left-hand side and it says Themes, you'll see that this is the theme area where you can just change the skin color of your theme. I'm just going to activate the original one, which is the 2010, and that's the original WordPress theme that usually gets sent out or delivered once you get WordPress installed. And I'll go to the front now, and I'll just hit, whoops. All right, so it's right here. Quickest way to lose weight, HQ. And if you have a look right now, this is what it usually looks like when you first install WordPress. Pretty okay theme. It's not like as if it's ugly or anything, but it does the job. And you'll notice that I've already put articles in here. Whoops. So don't worry about that. I'll go through that in the next few webinars just to share with you. But basically, this is a pretty plain and basic theme. There's nothing more to it. Now, what I would recommend you do is to change your theme. And I'll change it back to the theme that we chose. This is just a free theme called Simple Folio 1.5 that can be found on the internet. It's for free, and we've installed it. So I'll just go back over and I'll refresh it now. Don't worry, if you're wondering where to find these themes, I'm going to share with you some places where you can find some free themes. Good themes, in my opinion. So this is the design that we created and the new theme logo, theme design that we've got for our quickest way to lose weight HQ. So we've got pretty much just a little logo that we've done, some little images, and then put all these details at the top. Okay. So as you can see, this is the new theme. And this is what I recommend you do as well. And this will give you a bit of time between now to next week to go out and find a theme. You can change and do all these in Photoshop yourself as well, or you can hire a graphic designer to do it for you. Now, as I said, I've got a team of people in my team who does all this type of stuff. So every time I need a new site design, I just send it over to my team and I say to them, can you just design this? And they'll go ahead and do it for you. You can get someone to do it for you. There's a lot of places where you can outsource it to. And a really good place and cheap place just to get you started is called Fiverr.com. They can literally design any graphic, any logo or anything like that for $5. So just check that site out. That's a little tip for you in regards to outsourcing. And this is what I do quite a bit as well. If I want something simple to be done and I don't want to spend too much, Fiverr is the way to go. So check that out there. Okay, now as I said, I'm going to share with you a site where it's quite popular and there's a lot of high quality free themes. So what I usually do is I go to Google and I usually type into Google free WordPress themes. And there are plenty of them around, like hundreds and millions of them actually. And yeah, I mean, this is the site I actually found just recently. So it's called smashingmagazine.com. If you click on there, basically if you do free WordPress themes, this should come up as the fourth listing. Most of the ones at the top 3 are all related to WordPress, so you don't want to click on those because it's irrelevant. But yeah, here there's 100 free high quality WordPress themes that you can choose from, and a lot of them are pretty nice, you know, and you can just basically get them, install them onto your blog and set that up. Okay, so I thought I'd share that with you. If you want to get that link there, it's basically smashingpumpkin.com blah blah blah, but I think it's just way too long for you to find it. So what I'll do is after this webinar's finished, I'll put the link just below the replay, and that way you can just click and go there straight away to be able to get access to this. So download the theme and then basically install it onto your WordPress site. Okay, and it's as easy as that. I think that's pretty much it for today. I'm going to leave 15 minutes at least, so that way people can ask me questions, because I know that you've got probably a lot of questions about this. And as I said, this is more of the technical side of things, but it is a necessary part because it really does help you get your website started up. And this is where we will start the foundation, because once you've got this part done, the next part is really putting in the consistent hard work to be able to bring it to where we want it to, which is on the first page of Google. Now you can outsource this, and I teach that to a lot of my students, is to, if you don't have time, and also too that you're not very good in this area, definitely outsource it as much as you can and get someone else to install it, to set it all up for you. And it might only cost you like $10 to $15 to do, to get a design logo, like maybe get a logo and picture and stuff, and then pay them maybe about $100 or so to get a whole setup for you. And it's worthwhile doing, because this will save you a lot more time. But if you are game enough and you do have the time, go ahead and install this and set it up yourself. All right, so that's it on that side of things. What I might do right now is, before we do open up the line for questions and answers, I'm going to give you some action steps, because I know that it's crucial that every one of you, if you are looking and watching this call here, I want you to be able to go away and take some action on getting this done, because the whole goal, as I said to you at the beginning of this whole webinar series, is for you to be able to firstly learn something from the webinar, then second, go away during the week and start taking action on implementing these things. And imagine in 8 weeks' time, I've gone through the whole 8-week series, and you've already set up a website, got it ranking, got these amazing sites up on the internet. And it's just because you've taken little baby steps every week. And this is what I'm just encouraging you all to do, so that way it doesn't look like a big challenge. And I don't want you to get to week 8 and say, hey, Tyrone, can I just rewatch everything and try to implement everything all at once? Don't do that. Just do bit by bit. Okay, so the first action step that I want to encourage you to do for this week, let's write that down. So action steps. The first one is purchase a domain. Domain and hosting. Go to bluehost.com. All right. Obviously, you've chosen your domain name, or you've chosen your keyword. As I discussed and showed you in the last webinar, make sure that you found the right keyword. If you are unsure, just ask me. I'm more than happy to try and answer it for you and see if it's a viable niche. Once you've done that, go and purchase the domain. And as I said, you can either add HQ at the end, you can add an A at the beginning, E, etc. So just review that in this webinar. Second thing to do is to do the one-click WordPress setup. Okay. So basically go in there, get the control panel details and click on that simple script and set up your WordPress. And that should only take you probably less than 5 minutes. Then configure the settings as I showed you. Can't spell. Configure. C-O-N-F-I-G-U-R. Settings. Okay, if you remember, I told you to look at changing the tagline and also make sure the title's right. And then fourth, install a theme. And as I said, I'll provide that link down the bottom of the replay as well too. All right, so these are the action steps just for this week. Even though it's not very much, it's actually something that will get you started. That way you know exactly what you need to do. All right, and then by next week, I'm going to share with you the tools and the plugins and the optimization things that you need to do so that way we can get your website ranked on Google firstly. Okay, let's now open up the line for Q&A. And I'll just switch to the next slide. And that way you can have these. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is if you do have a microphone and you do want to ask me, I'm going to ask you and just simply put a yes and I'll open up the line so you can talk to me directly. Alternatively, I can just answer your questions just by reading out. So, Michael Perez, you've got a question here. It says, would you like me to actually open up the line so that way I can speak to you directly about that question? Or if you like me just to answer it here. Not sure if you're still there, Michael. Okay, let's have a look. Yes, okay, I'll open up your line, Michael, and you can ask me the questions. There we go. All right. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Michael. Hi, Tyrone.
How are things going?
It's going pretty good.
Good.
Thanks for all your information. It's very helpful. My one question was, I saw last week's video and I was wondering if it would be posted on your section.
Oh, okay. What I'll plan to do is I will put them together.
What I'll plan to do is I will put them together.
I'm getting feedback from. What I might do, Michael, I'm going to mute the line. It's getting a bit of feedback here. Okay. What I'm going to do for Mass Outsource members, for all my students who are on this call as well, is I will put it into the Mass Outsource Mastermind area and I'll have a little section there so that way you can have a look at it there. But it will be all listed on my blog and that way you can access it any time as well. Okay, I'll open it back up. If you've muted, then that's good. And then see if you've got any other questions to ask me at the same time. Okay, I've opened up your line there, Michael. Do you have any other further questions that you'd like to ask me? Okay, great. All right, fantastic. What I'll do is let's move on to the next question. We do have a number of questions that are coming in right now, so we'll take your calls or your answers or your questions right now. Okay, Mark Rudder says that he got a listing on DMOS. It took him about 3 weeks. Hey, that's great, Mark. Any tips or things you can share with us about how to do that? Because a lot of people have told me that it takes them at least years to just even get a listing. Let's have a look. I think just looking at what Mark's saying right now. Yeah, if you're still there, Mark, just let me know. Otherwise, I can either open up your line, and you can share that information. Okay. Next question I've got here. Okay, Tim. Let's have a look. Okay, Tim was saying to me to close Photoshop. I tried it, but unfortunately, Photoshop is what I need to use to draw everything, so I can't close it. Let's have a look. Okay. Let's have a look at the other questions we've got here. Which helps instead of affiliate business. Oh, okay. So, Mark, what you're saying in response to your question about having DMOS listing directories because you have a real business which helps instead of an affiliate business. So, therefore, it most likely sounds like that when people look on the DMOZ to approve the listings, they look and check your website first and make sure that you are running I'd say it's probably an offline business. Is that correct to say? Yes. Okay. Yeah. So if you do have an offline business that you are doing, most likely DMOZ probably would easily list you on. But if you've got an affiliate business like these niche websites, they do hesitate a little bit about doing it. So you need to prove something behind it. That's great. Thanks very much for that tip, though. Let's have a look. Okay. I've got a question from Duncan. He says, can you switch the keyword, e.g., instead of diabetes diet, have diabetes? Well, that's a really, really good question, Duncan. There's a reason why diabetes diet, for example, would be a keyword search. And if that's come up from Market Samurai, then it's most likely that the audience or the person who's searching is looking for diabetes diet. And if you do reverse them and choose that domain name as diabetes, it may not come into search results as strongly, and therefore you may not be found. So it's best to stick with what Market Samurai shows you or spits out to you and says, these are the keywords that people are searching for, and I would stick with them. Just for people who might not understand that, I'll just re-explain it for you. Okay, let's say, for example, if I was on Google and I was searching for the term diabetes. I can't spell diabetes. I'm really bad at my spelling, as you can probably see. Diabetes diet. Now, if Market Samurai returns to you and says, look, you're getting 200 searches per day for just that term. But if you type in diabetes in Market Samurai, it may come up with a different result. And these are just hypothetical facts. I don't know what the exact numbers are. You might only get 100 searches a day, for example. That would affect your result by half. So if you went ahead and chose dietdiabetics.com and that is available, for example, you will probably get search terms for that, but you might not get search terms for that. And that's why it's crucial to stick with what the order of the keywords is, because this is what people are searching for. Okay, that's crucial. And that's a really, really good question that you raised up. So thanks very much for asking that. Okay. All right, let's have a look. Let's have a look at, okay, next question is from Mark. How many keywords are too many for Google on a domain name? There are not really too many keywords. What it is that if people are searching for that, like the one that I've chosen, the quickest way to lose weight, that is a very common search term that people search, and there are a lot of keywords in there. It doesn't matter if there's like 10, 15 keywords. The obvious reason why people don't want to have such a long domain name or keywords is because it's hard to remember. If you had something that was saying quickest way to lose weight in 120 days over 2 days or something like that, then it's extremely, extremely long to remember. So you want to just keep it as short as possible. And if you want to find domain or keyword, probably keep between about 3 to about 5 at most. That's what I would probably say. Alternatively, if it is a strongly searched keyword and that is exactly the phrase that people are searching for, then definitely purchase that, because that is exactly what you're going to rank for. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay, Gordon says he's bought a couple of domain names with GoDaddy. That's great. Can I transfer them to Bluehost? You certainly most can. All you have to do is actually purchase just the Bluehost, and what will happen is, I'll probably explain that. Actually, why don't we talk about that in detail? I'll explain to you in detail when we speak next week, because I'll be giving you a session there. But Gordon, what you can do, and just for people in general, is that all you have to do is purchase Bluehost, and once you've purchased Bluehost, then what you do is just set up a DNS redirect back over to your domain name. And I can show you step by step on what to do. It's a little bit more technical. Or you can transfer the domain name across. But if you transfer the domain across, HostMonster will charge you another yearly fee, and you don't want to do that if you've just bought it. So it's best just to redirect it. And a lot of times, this is what I do for any new domains that I buy. explain to you. So I have, for example, I use 1n1.com to buy all my domain names. And then I use Bluehost to host all my files or websites. And all I have to do is, there is just a simple step of just sending or redirecting the domain name to the hosting. And if you know a little bit about name servers and DNSs, it's actually very easy. And all you're saying is, I want to point my new domain to the Bluehost server. And it will do that. And it takes about 24 to 48 hours to do. Okay. So that's basically how you do it. It is very technical, and if I have a bit more time, I could show you, but it will take me at least 15-20 minutes to show you how to do that exactly. All right, and I don't have time actually today to show you in this, but if you do have that question, I can try and make a tutorial for everyone for that later on. Okay, let's have a look. Next question is from Mark. Lots of free themes have hidden backlinks in the PHP. Yes, that is true, but that's the reason why they're free, because most of them actually don't have a lot of backlinks, but they have maybe one or two, just to say that this author designed this theme, because you've obviously got to give credit to them. For the people who designed it, I don't mind having their details listed at the bottom and saying that this is the person who designed it. But if you don't want that, it's quite easy to change. You just get the programmer to go into the edit file of the footer or wherever it is and just remove it, and it's easy to change that. Okay. Next question I've got is from Grant. I noticed your WordPress page for your quickest way to lose weight HQ that you had over 20 tags listed. Can you explain how these are important and maybe briefly what we should do with this? I currently only have pages and posts set up with my website. Fantastic question. That is very, very good question actually. All right, tags. Tags are extremely important. Now, what I would do, maybe I might open it up in Market Samurai actually. In Market Samurai, if you go back to keyword research, if you remember, I was talking about last week's session, talking about cars, and you can break them down to BMW, Mercedes, and Porsches, and all those kind of things. So let me show you the example. It might be better this way. So let's just use the example of cars. And we can break that down to BMW, Porsches, etc. Now, even these markets are still actually very, very broad markets. So we still need to break these down. You might look at BMW accessories. That might be a very niche market. Might look at BMW, I don't know, car racks. I'm just guessing these things up. Okay. But what I want to share with you or show you exactly what you need to look out for is basically, if you've gone through and just treat this BMW as being the quickest way to lose weight, inside quickest way to lose weight as a niche, there are also sub niches that you can also target as well. It doesn't necessarily mean you need to create these niches as new domains, but what you can do is you can create these as targeted keywords inside your WordPress. So for example, if I said I'm going to use BMW accessories as part of my BMW niche website, then what I want to do is that I will create some extra tags. And one of the tags I'd call is BMW niche, BMW accessories. That's the reason for the tags. The tags are also used as well for categories too. So you could actually use tags alongside with categories. And I will share with you actually next week. Next week is where I'm going to talk about these more in detail. I know it's a great question here and I wanted to try and help you answer it, but I think if you wait till next week, I will talk a lot more in detail how these two work hand in hand. Now, I don't focus as much on tags as I do with categories and keywords, but I do also treat tags as being keywords as well, okay? I know it's a little bit difficult to explain right now, but I will share with you next week when I do go into optimization and also talking about installing plugins and stuff like that. And it'll be a lot more relevant and also it'll make more sense for next week. Okay, but great question there, Grant, and I appreciate you asking that. Okay, so that's it. No problem. Great. All right, so I think I pretty much wrapped up everything on there. I've answered most people's questions there. If you do have any further questions, feel free to send them over to me. You can send them through my ticket support system, and either myself or Joanna, my virtual assistant, will do my best to answer them for you. Alternatively, when the replay does go up, hopefully by Monday of next week, it should go up. You can shoot your questions there and I'll answer them on my blog as well. So I want to make this as fun and exciting and also as interactive as possible for you. And I really, really appreciate all these great questions, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people out there who are also listening to this call will also be asking the same questions or similar things. All right, so what I would like to do is just encourage every single one of you just to take that baby step this week. Start on those action steps. If you haven't seen webinar 1, go back to the first webinar, which is talking about how to find profitable websites. And once you've watched through that, start to find research and do all those things that I recommend. Now, if you've already done that from last week, then what I recommend you do this week is to get your niche site up and running and set up. And that's very, very important, because next week we're going to delve into quite a bit of detail about those things that I just talked about as well, which is going to be talking about setting up the free tools and the plugins to optimize your site. And also I'll share with you the optimization little tips inside, how we can get them ranked in Google very, very quickly. So that way you can alleviate a lot of the heartaches that a lot of people do is when they set these sites up, they just get stuck and don't know where to go. All right, so thank you so much to everyone who's come onto the call tonight. I'm going to wrap it up for now, and I hopefully do see you inside the next call. And as I said, there's been a lot of people watching these videos, and it's been great to be able to see you on these calls, because you can get to actually ask me these questions and for me to answer them directly for you. All right, so thank you very much again tonight. Appreciate you taking some time out to be on this webinar, and I'll see you inside next week's webinar. So have a great night, everyone, and see you next week. Now, if you like more resources like this one, you can find them inside Mass Outsource Mastermind, along with video tutorials and step-by-step instructions showing exactly how I use them. To get a 30-day, no-risk trial membership to Mass Outsource Mastermind, simply visit freevideoset.com. Until next time, I wish you success in your quest for outsourcing.